Greetings and welcome to the latest garage update. I have several things to cover today, so let's get started. Alright then, I will start off with what is in this corner right here, and right over here, as you can see, I have a set of spacers. Now these are brand new spacers that I got from Psycho Developments, and they are 15mm, all four of them. Beautiful quality, really nice, with obviously the full set of the little nuts that go into the recesses there. So you may know that I have had a few sets of spacers from Psycho Developments in the past. I had the 12.5mm for the RS, specifically that I got to go with the stock wheels, the sort of regular wheels, not the forged wheels, because they don't have like the appropriate recesses in the rear to accommodate a spacer like this, so they have like the extended shanks and you just use the stock studs, but these I have got to go along with the Revo wheels, so whenever they are going on, these will be going on as well, so that's going to look awesome. They're sitting like this, all sort of laid out because I have been ceramic coating everything, so these are all 100% ready to go. Everything is just really nice, and I've always really liked the Psycho Developments quality. It's as good as I've seen out there, and the price is great, so why not? But yeah, that is one thing that we will be doing very soon, in the next couple of weeks. So that moving just slightly over here, you can see that I have removed the intake manifold from the car. That's the Mountune right here. So the reason why I have this out, and as you can see, I've taped up all of the orifices, just so that we don't get any dirt or dust in there, and I've done the same in the car as well. Essentially what I'm going to be doing is continuing a theme that I have in the engine bay. I'll just jump over to there right now. So you can see, as I was saying, I've got everything taped up nicely in here, but what I was talking about is with the gold tape from Funk Motorsport that I have on the underside of the intake, and of course I have some here right at the start as well. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is replicating this kind of style on the Mountune intake manifold. So what I need to do first is I have some IPA, isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to give it a nice clean down. You can see there's like some stuff here that needs to be cleaned off, just to prep this surface really nice, because then this is the Funk Motorsport gold tape, and it is self-adhesive, so we peel it off the backing and then we stick it on, and we want the surface to be nice and ready to bond really well with this. I want to continue with this theme of heat protection, because if you've ever driven your RS, not even that hard, for any length of time and then opened up the bonnet, you'll know that underneath there gets very hot indeed. So just any heat protection is a good thing, and of course in the intake manifold we have the air that is under pressure from the turbo that has gone through the intercooler, so it's at its coolest, which is what we want to retain once it gets in here and goes into the block. So just right here is a prime location just to protect from a bit of heat. So in terms of the manifold, you can see that there's, you know, a nice sort of line along here, lots of nice sort of flat surfaces for this to go. I mean, I could probably like spend a bunch more time and get it around the other side, the top as well, but for now I'm just going to concentrate on this surface here. It's going to be the quickest and easiest and probably most effective to do. Alright, here we are then, we're ready to go, nice and cleaned down, and I've got the gold tape here. So in terms of tools, literally all I need is something to cut this with. So I have some scissors and I've also got a blade, so I'll just cut it. I might do it like sort of approximately first and then like trim it down with the blade. Alright, so that's the first few strips on there. As you can see, I am going over like the edge. I'm going longer than I need to, and then I'll sort of trim this in a nice line afterwards. But yeah, for now what I'm going to do is I'll just complete the rest of this and then I will come back to you. There we are then, looking awesome and ready to go back into the car. So a couple of things that I noticed before I get this back in here. I've got a bit of rust going on down here. A couple of these clamps have a bit of rust, but I need to order some of those specially. But today what I will do is, you can see this bolt right here. One of them is pretty rusty down here, as you can see. The other one on the other side, just right there, isn't so bad, but you can see it's kind of starting to go a bit. So I'm going to replace these today while I'm at it, and I actually have the right sized bolts. Getting these out, they need an 8mm. Alright, so this is it. You can see that the bolt itself, you know, the threads and stuff are absolutely fine. It's just the head that's all rusty. I mean, it's fine, really. It's probably just a bit on the surface, but it doesn't look overly nice in the engine bay. So I think it's a good opportunity to replace it whilst I have easy access with the manifold out. And what I'm replacing it with is this, and this is titanium, so it's super duper light and it won't corrode the same. And these are from a company called RSR Moto, and they're just real nice. Gonna look awesome in there. Exact same specs. I think they're M6 bolts with a thread pitch of 1mm. So I'll get these in and that'll be me ready to get the manifold back in place. Okay, so just getting it started on the threads by hand. And then I'll snug it up with the same 8mm that I used to take the old rusty one out. Right, hopefully then now you can see I've got my titanium in there, and I replaced these all with titanium bolts and washers as well, just because why not? They look real nice and titanium is awesome. So yeah, all I need to do is just reconnect all this stuff and then I'll be done under the bonnet. Okay, moving on then to the last item of business for today, which is what is inside this box. Now obviously you can see it says Funk Motorsport, and if I pop it open, you will possibly recognize this. I had this on my car, or I had something very much like this on my car for a very long time, but recently I took it off. And what this is the diff cooler, the cooling plate that bolts on just underneath the rear diff and directs air along it in through the fins to cool it down under load. The reason why I took the original one off is because it took some damage, and I was going to just try and get it refinished and fixed and all that, but it became obvious that it wasn't going to be economical, because these aren't overly expensive like as they are. They're quite inexpensive actually, so it just made sense to get a brand new one. And while I was at it, I made some changes. So popped it out of the bag there. Now one thing you might notice immediately, if you're familiar with what I had before, I had like maybe what was the original version, slightly different logo sticker thing on it. This has the nice new one, but other than that it's exactly the same. It's the same approximation of nitrous blue to match the RS, but the issue, or one of the issues that I had with the old one was the paint job from AirTech. It was like a single stage sprayed straight onto the metal, and where it's situated under the car, it's going to be taking everything, right? So you know, it just didn't hold up. It was like flaking off and all that kind of stuff. So what I've done is I have given this a few layers of a very nice quality clear coat. The one that I used is from Touch Up Paint Factory. You may have seen me using it in previous videos, and it is just a very nice quality clear coat. It gives it an extra like depth of shine. You don't know if you can really tell on the camera, but it does look even nicer. It feels really nice and smooth. Certainly a lot better than it was from factory. So we've got these extra layers. It's going to stand up to a lot more abuse. And after that, I gave it some good ceramic coating using G-Technic Crystal Serum Light. So yes, this is now upgraded and ready to go. One thing that I found with the new one that I got, these are like sort of spacer things, and the ones that came with the new plate were a lot thinner and would probably like potentially damage the paintwork even more so than the design of the originals. So I'm going to use the originals. They're just ever so slightly sort of chunkier, but also I am going to use some additional washers just to try and like not damage so much around the holes here, because it was kind of around the holes where it was like being sort of sandwiched in during installation, that it sort of cracked that really thin paint from before, that eventually started to like, you know, get worse and worse and flake off and stuff like that. So hopefully with some extra washers, new hardware, etc., I won't run into that issue. Also, one last little change that I'm making, continuing a bit of a theme in this video, I've replaced the nuts with titanium, so super light, super strong, and corrosion resistant, just because I felt like it, and you know, replacing any parts that we can with upgraded materials I think is worth doing. So yeah, that's everything. These of course are not nylock nuts the way that the originals are, so we'll have to squirt some thread locker glue in there, but I mean that's pretty standard, not a big deal at all. And yeah, gonna be a very nice upgraded job once I get this installed. So I have the car up on my race ramps, ready to do the installation. So obviously I have done a previous video on this, so if you want to see the installation of it, you can go and watch that old video. But yeah, for now I will just blast on and get the new plate installed. There we are, installed, new and fresh. Well, there we are then, all the latest updates for you from my garage for my Focus RS. I hope you enjoyed all of them, and there are plenty more to come in the very near future, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.